The plane crash over Palomares, Spain, occurred on January 17, 1966, when an American B-52 strategic bomber with thermonuclear weapons on board collided with a KC-135 tanker while it was refueling in flight. The crash killed 7 people and resulted in the loss of 4 thermonuclear bombs. 3 of them were found immediately, the 4th only after more than 2 months of searching. The Palomares episode is one of those incidents that could change the face of our planet beyond recognition. More precisely, the southeastern part of the Mediterranean coast of Spain could have become a radioactive desert. During the Cold War, the U.S. Air Force Strategic Air Command conducted Operation Chrome Dome, in which a number of strategic bombers carrying nuclear weapons were constantly in the air, ready to change course and strike at predetermined targets in Soviet territory at any time. Such patrolling allowed in the event of war to avoid wasting time preparing the aircraft for takeoff and significantly reduce its path to the target. On January 17, 1966, the B-52G Stratofortress bomber, serial number 58-0256, 68th Bomber Wing, Commander Captain Charles Windorf, departed Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, USA, on a routine patrol. The aircraft carried 4 B-28RI, 1.45 megaton, thermonuclear bombs. The aircraft was to make 2 aerial refuelings over Spanish territory. During the second refueling at about 10:30 local time, the bomber collided with a KC-135 Stratotanker, serial number 61-0273, 97th Bomber Wing, Commanding Officer Major Emil Chapla, at an altitude of 9,500 meters near the fishing village of Palomares, in the municipality of Cuevas del Almazra. All 4 crew members of the tanker were killed in the crash, as well as 3 members of the bomber crew. The other 4 managed to eject. A fire broke out and forced the crew of the strategic bomber to use an emergency hydrogen bomb drop. 4 of the 7 crew members of the bomber managed to escape. An explosion followed. Due to design features of the emergency bomb drop, they had to parachute down to the ground. But in this case only one bomb's parachute opened. The first bomb, whose parachute did not open, crashed into the Mediterranean Sea. They searched for it for 3 months. Another bomb whose parachute had opened went down in the riverbed of the Almanzora, not far from the coast. But the greatest danger came from 2 bombs that crashed to Earth at over 300 kilometers an hour. One of them was near the home of a resident of the village of Palomares. A day later, the 3 lost bombs were recovered on the coast. The triggering charge of 2 of them went off on impact with the ground. Fortunately, the opposite volumes of TNT detonated unsynchronously, and instead of compressing the detonating radioactive mass, scattered it around. The search for the 4th was spread over an area of 70 square kilometers. After a month and a half of intense work, tons of debris were recovered from underwater, but the bomb was not among them. Thanks to the fishermen who witnessed the tragedy, the place of the fall of the ill-starred cargo was established on March 15. The bomb was found at a depth of 777 m, above a steep bottom crevasse. On April 7, the bomb was raised with inhuman efforts, after several slips and breaks in the wires. It lay on the bottom for 79 days, 22 hours and 23 minutes. Another 1 hour and 29 minutes later, it was deactivated by specialists. It was the most expensive sea rescue operation of the 20th century, costing $84 million. Satisfied generals next to a hydrogen bomb that was retrieved from the bottom of the sea 3 months later. This bomb, having fallen in Palomares, miraculously did not explode. But it could have been different. There was an explosion of TNT inside one of the bombs, which did not detonate the plutonium filling. The result of the explosion was a cloud of radioactive dust released into the atmosphere. The first Spanish military personnel at the site of the crash. The crash site of the B-52. A 30 by 10 by 3 m crater was created. After the Palomares crash, the U.S. announced that it would stop flights of bombers with nuclear weapons on board over Spain. A few days later, the Spanish government placed a formal ban on such flights. The US cleaned up the contaminated area and satisfied 536 claims for compensation, paying $711,000. Barrels of soil are being prepared to be shipped to the United States for processing. Participants of the radioactive cleanup from the U.S. Army. Map of radioactive soil contamination in Palomares area and location of recording equipment. Another $14,500 was paid to the fishermen who observed the bomb drop at sea. That same year, Spanish official Manuel Fraga Ilibarn Center and American ambassador Angier Biddleduke left, swam into the sea to demonstrate its safety. In a way, the Palomares incident served as the idea for the anti-war comedy The Day the Fish Came Out. In Palomares itself, decades later, nothing reminds us of what happened except January 17, 1966. The site of one of the bombs. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us interesting facts you know about the topic of this video. See you in new videos.